Good morning. Welcome to our fifth reopening forum for our community members. Just as before, if you have any questions, please email them to reopeningquestions@sccs.cnyric.org. And at the end of this presentation, we will do our best in order to answer any questions that you may have. Introducing our folks here today, my name is Kevin Seymour. I am the high school principal.
Amy Malloy, I'm the middle school principal.
Tim Filiatra, elementary principal.
So we went through a lot of discussions and planning, collaboration in order to get to where we are today with this plan. And this is an ongoing process as we continue to consider some of the minute details. But in order to get here, we were provided guidance from a few different places. One place being the Recovering, Rebuilding, and Renewing the Spirit of New York Schools reopening guidance, the CDC guidance, and New York State health guidance. Also, our Department of Health in Oswego here has also supplied us with some information to help this process when planning. So our goals as we went through this process were to ensure the safety and social emotional well-being of students, staff, and community members. Also, to develop a plan that safely maximizes the academic engagement between students and teachers.
To help distinguish between remote learning and homeschooling, we've created some definitions that would be easy for the community to understand when choosing their model of instruction. Remote learning students will follow the school-based curriculum via assistance from their teachers remotely. How each grade level and teacher implements remote learning will be a little bit different. We will provide more detailed information per grade level, which is also in our reopening guidance about what remote learning looks like from 1:30 to 3:30 every day. Those parents who wish to homeschool their child will have to go through the homeschooling process with Mr. Filiatra. There needs to be a letter of intent to begin the homeschooling process, and then a variety of other paperwork that must be filed for your child to be homeschooled. Parents will assume all responsibility for a child's education. They will no longer be Sandy Creek students. Those who are remote learning will still remain enrolled at Sandy Creek. We did send a letter out last week for parents to make sure that they provided their model of instruction to us. So any changes from your model of instruction must be given to us by tomorrow in order to make final decisions on our staffing and spacing here within the building.
Attendance. Attendance will be taken daily for the students who are here in person on site, and also for those students who are learning remotely from home virtually. So any student who doesn't attend or participate the on-site or the remote sessions does have the potential risk of failing classes and not receiving credit. It is vital that they attend and participate each day.
Mask, PPE. Students, they will be required to wear masks on the bus and socially distance to the maximum amount possible. While in school, they will also be expected to wear masks unless they are able to socially distance. We have developed socially distanced classrooms, which will allow our students to remove their masks when they are in certain classrooms that are able to socially distance. Per New York State law, some students will not be required to wear masks due to a medically documented situation. These students will have to go through the proper channels of CSD in which they may have a 504 or an IEP in order for this to happen. If you have concerns, please reach out to Kim Manfredi, our CSE chairperson. At this time, face shields do not qualify as a mask. Students and staff will be wearing cloths, masks, or disposable masks daily while in the district.
Transportation. If you've requested that the district provide transportation, we have provided an estimated morning pickup time, which is subject to change as they work on the routes. This is in a letter that was sent home last week. In order to accommodate all our requests for transportation and due to the restrictions this year with the guidelines, the students must ride the same bus in the AM and PM. If you have concerns or questions, please contact Robin Cashel, our transportation supervisor. Her extension is 3330.
Regarding temperature checks, before entering a bus, a student's temperature will be taken by a screening system that our district has purchased. It is located outside of the bus. If a student's temperature is 100 degrees or above, that student will not be allowed to go to school that day and will be directed back into their residence. We are looking into the impact of whether a student who has a temperature of 100 degrees and above, if their siblings can also board the bus. Once we have more information, we will provide that to you, whether that is possible. For students being dropped off by parents or driving to school, students will be temperature checked prior to entering the building as well. We ask that parents not leave campus until their child is verified of having a temperature less than 100. There are 3 entry points. Our entry points for walkers, drop-offs, and drivers. The elementary location will be the one facing the road for K through 5. The middle school, high school has 2 entrances. The one with the side ramp nearest the gym doors, and also the main office will be another entrance for our 6 through 12 walkers and parents who drop them off.
Our in-person reopening plan, just some highlights of that. So district-wide, across the K-12, all students will attend from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. if they are in the in-person model. For kindergarten through 6th grade, students will attend every day, Monday through Friday. And that will be from the hours of 8 to 1:30 p.m. with dismissal at 1:30. The class sizes here have been reduced, and our schedules are developed to maximize social distancing so that students are able to remove their mask when socially distanced in those classrooms. The students will remain with their classrooms, their cohorts throughout the day in the elementary, and breakfast and lunch will be served in the classrooms for K-5. At 6th grade, those students will be eating breakfast in the classroom, but lunch will be in a cafeteria.
For the middle and high school students, just to continue with eating here at school, meals are breakfast at 7 through 12 that will take place in the classrooms. However, they will eat lunch in the cafeteria. So our students, they'll be placed in the cohorts. They'll attend school in person, on site, 2 days per week. We have our white comments. Typically, last name A through L adjustments have had to be made in terms of the programs that the students have been in, BOCES programs and other courses that they're taking, so adjustments have been made. But our white comments, they will attend school on Monday and Wednesday. Our blue comments, they will attend on Tuesday and Thursday, and typically last name M through Z. This information will be sent in the coming week. You will receive the student schedule. On that schedule, it will be labeled with whether or not the student is a white comment and attend on Monday and Wednesday, or a blue comment attending on Tuesday and Thursday. All students will learn virtually on Friday. And on that day, students will follow their in-person schedule. Just a reminder that students, even though they are attending school on Monday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday, they also will have attendance taken on days when they are not here, and there will be learning expectations for those students. CTE BOCES students, they will attend Sandy Creek 2 days per week, and they will attend BOCES 1 day per week. All other programs, students will be communicated with individually. Also coming in the next week or so, you will receive a letter home that will illustrate to our students what cohort they are in for City BOCES, what day they will be going to City BOCES. We have also worked at both the elementary and the high school, middle school level to put it all together to accommodate our families so that they are all riding the bus or attending in-person instruction on the same day.
The next slide shows you what our 6 through 2 schedule looks like from 8 to 1:30. You will see on the high school side in the green and blue, we've had to adjust some of the periods. We go from period 4 to 6. That's to accommodate our lunches. All of our class periods will be 30 minutes long, except for lunch, which will be with 20 minutes now.
At the elementary, the K-5 daily schedule, which runs from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., those students will participate in the core subjects of math and ELA, which we've allowed approximately 1 hour each for those subjects. Science and social studies is also scheduled in there, and that ranges depending on the day, whether it's 45 minutes to an hour at each grade level. And then intervention services, which would be the extra help needed for reading or math or even science, social studies if appropriate. That will be provided. Sorry for the little jingle. That will be provided for each student as it's needed, and we do have interventionists who will be working with each grade level. In addition to those core subjects and intervention, we also have 40-minute specials planned Monday through Thursday in the areas of PE, art, music, and tech, and those will look differently depending on the special area. For instance, art, the art teacher plans on going to the classroom for that to take place, as well as tech. Music and PE will vary depending on what's available, and the weather outside may determine where they are.
We had a question about what a typical classroom here at Sandy Creek would look like. So we have provided some pictures on the top 3 photos. These are of a typical high school classroom. You'll see we've worked to ensure that there is 6 feet of space between chairs in order to allow for social distancing to occur. That will in turn allow our students to remove their masks. Also at the elementary level, you'll find an example at the bottom of this page. Again, another example of a socially distanced classroom at the elementary. For those students who will be 100% remote learners, there are some very important pieces that you need to know. First, plans are still being developed teacher by teacher. However, there are rough outlines in terms of what the schedule will look like for those students. That information, some of it will be mailed out in the next week so that parents are aware of what that will look like. Also, our teachers will be reaching out and communicating with you what their expectations will be for remote learners. Also, for our remote learners, meals and school resources per the teacher will be available to those students. Meals, they will be able to be picked up between 10 and 12 each day near the district office doors. You will have to, if you need materials from a teacher or coming to get meals, you will have to come to the school in order to pick these up. Attendance will be taken daily for our remote learners, just as if you were in school. There will be expectations. They will be put in from our teachers, and you will be expected to do meet those learning expectations in order to be successful. You will be accountable for attendance as well as for the work that the teachers put in place. The New York State standards will still be addressed. There's work that you will still have to do, and if you don't meet those New York State standards, those expectations, you may not be successful in that class. In terms of an electronic device, we have provided all of our students with an electronic device. If you're having an issue with it, it is not working once school begins, please reach out to our technology department. The extension is 1949. You may also put in a help desk ticket, and you can email that by going to students.sandycreekcsd.org.
In the event we have to move to all remote instruction due to a COVID outbreak and or case here at Sandy Creek, students will follow their in-person schedules from 8 o'clock to 1:30 to provide consistency for students and staff members. Detailed schedules will be provided in the case that we have to go to all remote instruction. Students will be expected to and are required to check in daily as attendance is mandatory per New York State guidelines. There has been several questions about our students with IEPs and or 504 plans. We have 3 goals for our students: giving them access to the general education curriculum, giving them the opportunities to work on their IEP goals. Our teachers, our special education teachers, have been busy over the summer, over the past week or so, creating contingency plans that will be developed for each student in addition to their IEP or 504 plan. Each child's special education teacher will be reaching out to you regarding your tailored contingency plan based on their model of instruction, whether that's in person, remote, or hybrid prior to the start of the school year. This does not require an amendment meeting. All students will be provided their modifications and accommodations to the greatest extent possible given the elected model of instruction, whether that's in person, remote, hybrid, or even our homeschool students.
That concludes the first portion of this. The next portion of the forum, we will be answering questions that have been provided by the community. If you have any further questions, please email reopeningquestions@sccs.cnyric.org.
Okay, first question is, will there be a pre-K program this year? The answer is no. After much discussion and looking at all of the different factors that weigh into that decision, including discussion at the board last week, the decision was made yesterday morning. Parent phone calls were made to those that were registered for pre-K to inform them that there will not be a program this year. And letters are going out from my office today, from myself and Mr. Faulkner, to explain to those parents why there is no pre-K program this year. We will, however, be sending some resources and other things that will support those families so that they can help to prepare their child for kindergarten the following year.
Our next question, does Sandy Creek get information from the Department of Health regarding COVID-19? The short answer, yes, we do receive updates from Oswego County each and every single day. We monitor that data in order to make choices about whether or not students will be in school or not, and we will continue to do that. Additionally, we do have students that go to school in Onondaga County as well as Jefferson County, and we interact with Jefferson County when we play sports and do those sorts of things, which we're not yet. But we do monitor numbers in those counties as well to ensure the safety of our students, staff, and community members.
Will all families be able to go on the same days if in a hybrid model? The administration has worked diligently and hard on making those accommodations for all families to attend on the same days to give an account for child care and other issues that may arise. We've also accounted for that with BOCES programming too.
Our next question, will the school provide an electronic device for my child? And also, what about internet access if we don't have it? Every student will be supplied a device. At kindergarten and first grade, that will be in the form of an iPad. And at grades 2 through 12, those students will each have their own individual Chromebook. Please reach out to our technology department if you have any issues with those devices or need any support. If a student is remote at home with their device and needs help, that's who they should reach out to. The tech department extension is 1949, or you can go online to the help desk found at students.sandycreekcentralschool.org. If you replied in the survey that you have no internet access or difficulties with your internet access, we are aware of that, and you can reach out to the district office at extension 1510 for specific questions about that. We are trying to help those families at 7 through 12 because all students 7 through 12 at some point are going to be learning remote on their off days when they're not in person. So we will work with you to provide that internet access. There is some flexibility, however, that may provide an opportunity for some students to come have access to internet on the days they are not in person. Those will be determined on a case-by-case basis. Please reach out to your school principal for that issue.
Our next question, what model of instructions are being offered? It depends on the grade level. At the case through 6, we are offering 2 models. We have the fully remote model, which students are able to engage in, where they will follow their typical schedules, or they will be receiving a lot of that remote instruction from 1:30 until 3:30 in the afternoon. We are also doing an in-person model from 8 a.m. till 1:30 for, again, the K-6 students. Our grades 7 through 12, we are offering 2 models again, one being a hybrid model in which the students will come on Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday. Our Monday and Wednesday students are our white comets, our Tuesday, Thursday are our blue comets, and then they will be learning virtually on all other days, and on Friday all students will be learning virtually for that hybrid model. We are also offering the remote model for the high school, and that schedule is dependent on teachers and how they are providing that instruction to the students. Most of that will take place from 1:30 until 3:05.
Can I change the model of my child's instruction? We sent home letters last week asking you to make a final determination on the model of instruction that you chose for your child. That is tomorrow, August 19th. This is due to staffing and space constraints. So we ask that you make your final determination by tomorrow, as it impacts our spacing and staffing for the district.
What type of mask does my child have to wear? When does my child have to wear a mask, and does a face shield take the place of a mask, and will there be mask breaks? Students need to wear any cloth mask that would be acceptable. We also are accepting the surgical mask or the disposable type. If your child doesn't have one, we will provide one for them. It may be best that you get one ahead of time and make sure that your child is comfortable wearing it, especially for the elementary, just so that they feel more comfortable their first day of school. They do need to wear their mask whenever they are not socially distanced. Those times include on the bus. At all times on the bus, they must wear a mask. When students enter or exit the building, and as they travel in the hallways, or at any other times throughout the day where they may not be socially distanced, they will have to wear their mask. Once they're in the classrooms, as we mentioned earlier, they are socially distanced in the classroom. We've worked hard to reduce the number of students in those rooms so that they can be distanced and take their masks off for instruction. Please know that the staff will provide mask breaks for students if there are times where students have had to have their mask on for a long period of time. Teachers are going to work with those students to provide them with breaks and utilize the outside courtyards or get outside when the weather is nice so that those students have a break from those masks. If your child has a medically documented condition and you need to speak with someone about that regarding a mask, please call our CSD department. It's Kim Manfredi, and her extension is 1910.
Our next question, how will students' temperatures be taken? It depends on how they are getting to school. So those students that are taking the bus, their temperatures will be taken prior to them getting on the bus. For those students that are walking, riding, parents dropping them off, they will have their temperatures taken prior to them entering the bus, or when they are still in the vehicle, they will have their temperatures taken. Entering the building, our middle and high school students, they'll have two entrances, the ramp nearest the gym and the main office entrance. The elementary students, they'll be dropped off, they'll walk through the doors facing the road. If the student has a temperature of 100 degrees or above, that student will not be allowed to get onto the bus or be allowed into the building.
Are there plans to test students and staff? At this point, there are no current plans to test students or staff, although it's been in the news recently. All staff are screened prior to the start of the day. In the event any testing has to be done, it's going to be done in collaboration with the New York State Department of Health and Oswego County.
What are the procedures for cleaning? Mr. Ridgway and his staff are following all of the CDC and New York State Department of Health guidelines, making sure that they have the correct cleaning agents and such, and developing a schedule to make sure that things are cleaned regularly and routinely. Also be aware or know that the staff is pitching in and helping out with that, making sure to wipe down frequently touched surfaces in between classes of students.
We discussed this earlier in our presentation, but how will my child receive special education services? All special education teachers will be working on contingency plans. They have been working on them related to a child's 504 and IEP. Those plans are going to be thoroughly reviewed and discussed by each teacher with their child and the child's parent, and also the general education teachers prior to the start of the school year. Our goal is to provide all services to the greatest extent possible given the confines of a modified schedule this year.
Our next question, will my child be able to participate in extracurricular activities and sports if they are remote learners? And the answer is yes. We are still going to allow our students to participate in these extracurriculars, whether it be sports or any other clubs or activities. However, it is important to know that everything has been suspended or postponed until September 21st. We are awaiting guidance from our section as well as the state before we make any decisions about what sports will look like for the district. Our next question, when is BOCES and will my child be able to attend? BOCES programs, they will run Monday through Thursday, and there will be a full day schedule. So students will go from 8 a.m. until 2:30 each day. They will be put in a cohort, and that information will be coming out by the end of this week. It will be in the mail. You will know exactly what day the student is attending, as well as the program, as it will be on their schedule.
Will the elementary students have specials and recess? The answer to the first part of that is yes, the students will have specials, and those are in art, music, technology, and PE. Those take place Monday through Thursday for each class. On Fridays, the teachers are working to provide special activities that will take the place of a special on Fridays. That is still being developed, but we have some fun activities planned for that. Recess, however, is not part of the daily schedule, but please know that while the playground is closed until further notice, the teachers are going to be taking movement breaks with the students throughout the day. They will make use of the outdoor areas such as the courtyards and the area around the playground just to get outside and exercise, take a walk, take a break and such. And the teachers will provide those mask breaks as well.
Our next question, what if we have a COVID-19 case at Sandy Creek? If we have a case, we will be working closely with the Department of Health following very particular procedures. For more specific information about what that will look like, we do encourage you to go to our website. There is a contact tracing form that's there, a plan. Please read through that, and if you have more specific questions regarding that, again, please email us and we will respond.
Will students have access to lockers at the 6th through 12th grade level? Yes, they will. They have already been strategically assigned to ensure maximum distance between each student. However, students must wear masks during hallway transition, and this includes trips to their lockers. We are going to be encouraging students to take home all of their belongings home at the end of each day. We don't want them keeping stuff in there overnight, so they can bring them in the building, but they want to be taking them home at the end of each day.
What will a socially distanced classroom look like? Earlier in our presentation in the slideshow, there were pictures provided for the high school, middle school classroom and elementary classroom. You can access those through the website. How will my child receive breakfast or lunch on the days that he or she is remote? There will be a designated spot at the school for pickup between 10 and 12 Monday through Friday, and more information about that is forthcoming.
Our next question, why are students being released at 1:30 instead of 3 p.m.? The reason that we have done this is to accommodate the expectations set in place by New York State. We were expected to create a level of equity between our in-person students and our remote learners as well. This is giving our teachers an opportunity to address the needs of those remote learners, as that will be time consuming. Again, this was an expectation that was put in place by New York State.
The next question addressed that children are often asymptomatic and don't have usual symptoms that adults do, and asked how could the requirement of a mask be sufficient to protect the spread of the virus. We have to and we must follow all CDC and New York State Department of Health guidelines, and that includes wearing masks when not socially distanced.
If a single student tests positive for the virus, does that imply the entire school or classroom will be learning from home? That decision will be up to the Oswego County Department of Health, our school physician with Connects Care, in conjunction with conversations with Mr. Faulkner, our superintendent.
Additionally, our Governor Cuomo has come out and said that he will intervene in any scenarios where there seems to be an outbreak or a spread, so some of that information will come from the state level as well. Our next question, parents that are still working or have returned to work, online learning, it might be difficult or impossible to accommodate during school hours. How is the school prepared to address the child's absence? So it's very difficult to handle what a student is going to be doing at home while we're here in school. However, at different grade levels, we're implementing different strategies for instruction. Some of that is recording lessons and posting those so that students can address their learning later in the day. Attendance can be taken later in the day so long as they meet the expectations of the teacher. Also, as the situation develops, we're willing to implement any necessary interventions to support our students to ensure that they are successful.
The next question asks, when will we receive supply list, and is there an estimated day as to when we find out our children's teachers? Mr. Filiatra and Mr. Seymour and myself have put out letters to our families at each of our buildings, which includes schedules along with who teachers are and also supply lists. So expect them either later this week and or early next week for all of that information.
How many children are per classroom? Well, that really depends on the grade level. At the elementary level, each classroom is 14 students or less. To allow us to socially distance them in those classrooms. At 6th grade, I believe the number is 13 or less. And then in the high school, the average class is going to be 12 or less students in those rooms. To allow for that social distancing, as we mentioned earlier, we of course will know more after tomorrow, August 19th, when we have those final determinations from parents as to what model of instruction they have chosen.
Our next question, how will you keep students from touching personal belongings or from touching other children? This is a learning curve, just like any other standard procedure that a student will have to go through when they're at school, accessing their locker, walking down the hallways, waiting in line patiently to get their lunch. This is just one more learning that our students will have to do, and our teachers will work closely with the students in order to learn this skill so that students are not touching each other throughout the day.
When unloading buses in the morning, they want to know how we're going to unload them to prevent crowding in hallways. Know that we're going to be staggering our exits from the bus in the morning so that children won't be bunched up. They also have hand sanitizer and also a temperature check prior to actually riding the bus.
How will parent pickups happen at the end of the day? All the parents standing in that hallway is not safe. The district is currently working on a new plan. Obviously, the dismissal procedures we've used the last couple of years at the elementary specifically will not work well. Parents will not be allowed to enter the building, as we've done for the past 2 years, to sign out their child. So we are working on a new plan, and more information will be sent out as soon as we have that available.
Our next question, is there any information on the protocol if a staff member or student tests positive? Again, there is information on our website, so we do encourage you to go there and read through our contact tracing information. It will provide thorough details in terms of how we would address that. Additionally, if it grows larger, our superintendent will be working with our physician at Connects Care as well as with the Department of Health to make the appropriate decision about what we would do moving forward in the event of a positive COVID test.
The next question asks, on the forms verifying student or verifying selections on the survey, it says selection until January 2021. Does this mean the plan is subject to change mid-year? No. And if so, would parents who select remote learning be able to make adjustments with schooling at that time? So we've asked you to make a decision regarding your model of instruction by tomorrow, August 19th. We're asking you because it's very difficult to add students to a classroom that is already socially distanced based on staffing and spacing. If you want to change your mind to be in person from remote after August 19th, just know that it could take weeks to months to even make that happen. If you want to choose to go from in person to remote, obviously that switch would be much easier to accommodate.
It was mentioned that children are subject to one bus route only. How is that going to work for us parents whose children get on the bus at home and go elsewhere in the afternoon? Unfortunately, due to the restrictions and the necessary contact tracing, our bus routes are very limited this year, and they are being set up by Robin Cashel. It's very difficult for us to make any accommodations other than a consistent morning and afternoon pickup and drop off. There will be assigned seating on those buses. Again, if you have concerns regarding your child and the transportation issue, please reach out to Robin Cashel, and her extension is 3330.
Our next question asks about substitute teachers that may have children in the district. How would it look from 1:30 to 3? And what are some expectations of substitute teachers during this different teaching situation? Right now, we are in the process of developing a learning opportunity for our substitutes where they will receive very much information about how the day will look for our substitutes. That will take place early September, and information will come out regarding that. We will be contacting you so that you are comfortable as you transition back into substituting.
The next question is a three-part question. One asked about having water bottles. Yes, students can have water bottles with them. One asked about hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is prohibited on the bus. However, if students are in school and they have a small hand sanitizer on them, that's fine with us. We're not going to be looking to take that away from our students. And then one question was about travel wipes, to bringing in travel wipes. You can't bring any travel wipes in. The wipes that we have here at school are CDC and Department of Health approved. Our classrooms will be cleaned between cohorts and periods so that our children are safe here.
Our next question is regarding the question about if a sibling has a temperature and whether or not other members of that household can get on the bus or enter the school building. We are still waiting on some guidance from the Department of Health regarding and our physicians as to whether or not that would be the case. Once we know more about that, we will be able to push that information out to the families so that you are better informed about that. We've received, unfortunately, some conflicting messages regarding that question, so we are still investigating and looking into that.
Our next question, will attempts be taken by drivers on the bus, or will parents do this before the bus gets there? Students, prior to getting on the bus, they will have, there's a system actually on the bus that will take the temperatures, so students will walk up to it, the temperature will be taken, and then they will get on the bus at that point.
All right, are we on to our new questions? All right, so we have a couple of new questions here this morning. One question was asking about when the start of school is. That start of school will be September 8th. And the other question was, what are the percentage of high school students choosing in-school versus remote learning? Currently, approximately 12% of our high school students and families are requesting entirely remote instruction. But since changes are still being made by tomorrow, those percentages could change based on information that's still coming in.
Any other questions? At this point, we do not have any other questions. Right now, this is our last forum that we have scheduled. If there are any drastic changes that need to take place, we will host another one and we will send that information out. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email reopening questions at the same email that we've said a couple times here. We will respond to those. You will get that information promptly. We will send that out. We thank you for tuning in and listening this morning about our plans to reopen. If you have any questions, again, please don't hesitate to reach out as we are here to support our students, our staff members, and our community members. Thank you very much.
Thank you.